Birds of Prey number 4, written by Dwayne Swierczynski, art by Jesus Saiz. We left off last issue with Black Canary realizing that she is turned into one of these walking bomb people, and the entire train heist to get these other bomb people is turning sideways. This issue picks up pretty much exactly where we left off. Inside her head, Dinah can hear this voice that's singing a nursery rhyme, which apparently is her trigger to explode. And if she hears the end of it, she'll explode. So as everything's going tits up for the entire Birds of Prey, she's making her way to the door of the train. She busts herself out and she's like, well, this fall could probably kill me, but better than blowing up a train. So she goes to jump out. Starling grabs her and says, oh, wait, hold on. There's another way. Boom, knocks her out. Right hook. And then the rest of the action happens, and we get back to it. But we wake up. She's in the doctor's office of Trevor Cahill. The only reason I know is because she lists off first and last name here very conveniently. It's the same doctor from like an issue or two ago. And Starling's there, and it's like, hey, so is there any reason why you took that highly experimental stroke treatment drug I was telling you about before? It's not exactly a party drug. And she basically like, well, hold on. I could still explode. Did you find a cure? And he's like, well, yeah. I found a way to kind of break down the fragile proteins. Cool, we need a lot of that, and we need it now. And Starling's like, hey, I'm 9 steps ahead of you. We got to go. After flirting with Trevor for a little bit more. So then they run out the door, and Starling explains everything that happened on the train because it had to be told in flashback. So Starling apparently broke her hand punching out Black Canary. Dragged her into the bathroom, and then over the comms, Ivy's calling for help. She can't get to Ivy, who's being beat down, so Katana steps in, draws them out. For some reason, they just give up Ivy really easily to go after Katana, but they go up onto the top of the train and start fighting. When Starling shows up to the front of the train, she sees Ivy just standing outside the control room, not doing anything. But it's one of the invisible guys putting on a disguise. Literally, like, if this was a turning page payoff, I would be like, okay, that's a thing. But at the top of the page, it's shown, and at the bottom of the page, it's revealed. So I don't even know what they were going for with that. Regardless, Katana's slicing and dicing people, and the blood is getting all over the passengers' windows, which are kind of messing with the passengers a little bit. Ivy doesn't know how to stop the train inherently, so she just grows some vines. They spring out the front of the window, and they pull a Spider-Man 2 of just digging into the ground until the train stops. Everyone's okay. Everyone's fine, except for, the people Katana killed. Ivy gets one of the invisible people and does a mind-reading thing, or toxic seduction, as they refer to it. Starling and Katana make their way to the two targets. Katana knocks out the judge super easily, where Starling goes to the other guy, I think the political aide, and she's like, hey, sorry, I broke my hand knocking out my friends, so this might take 2 or 3 punches. He's like, do you know who I am? And she's like, thank you. Knocks him out. So apparently they got the information that these guys are called cleaners, or they call themselves cleaners. They report to a man with the code name of Choke, and they've been doing experiments all over Gotham, and turns out those guys that they were targeting weren't walking bombs. They were actually like receivers and transmitters. Like, they were, everything they saw and heard, they were transmitting to like a central place. So yeah, that was a thing. So anyway, we're like, all right, anyway, we got an address of a place where these guys are hanging out, so we're just going to go ahead and break in there and kick some ass. So they go there. Batgirl arrives because she's in the book, I guess. And they all dive into the building in their own various ways. And when they get in there, it's completely empty. But of course, they recognize, oh, these people can turn themselves invisible. And as it just happily turns out, I got a piece of their armor, Starling says, and I brought it to the guy who was doing all the medical stuff. And it turns out he's just a jack of all trades. And he made us this laser that when I turn it on, it should undo all their invisible tech. Yep. So she turns it on, and immediately they see they're completely surrounded. Like, the entire edges of the room are all covered in these guys. But they're all facing away from them, and it doesn't seem like they're like ready to fight. But Birds of Prey are like, all right, everyone, Katana, you cover the right flank or whatever. But then the voice in their head starts again. And it's like, oh, that's not going to be necessary. Welcome to the cage. And they're like, who are you? What do you want with these people? And it's like, I would explain everything to you, but you're not going to remember anyway. Bye. And then they just wake up in the wreckage of a building. And Starling's like, what was I saying? And that's it. That's where we leave off. There's just a black panel, wreckage of building. And we're going to do the thing where we go back again. We're going to see what happened again. Because this can't just tell a linear story. We got to go back. So it was fine. It was good. It furthered a lot. It introduced the way that the villains operate. It finished up that whole train thing. It showed part of their plan while not giving the whole thing, and then gave us a little taste of how strong like the main villain is, and that he's able to just say, I don't want to have this fight. And then he didn't. He just skipped it. So yeah, no, I like this issue in terms of plot. I just don't like the structure of it. I don't like the fact of like, I knocked out Black Canary, and therefore we're just going to do this whole thing. And then you don't get to see this part of the story because that's part of his power. Even though I'm sure we're going to see that part of the story. I guarantee you. So, I don't know. I just don't like that kind of structuring thing. Maybe that's just me, though. So overall, for me personally, I'm going to give it a 6.5. I like some of the more comedic bits, especially when she knocks out the political aid. That was a good part. I don't, again, like this one-page structuring thing of Ivy betraying them and then clearly not. I don't understand why that had to be there. It's just structural issues. In terms of forwarding the plot, it's good. So 6.5 for Birds of Prey. We'll see where it goes from there.